MovieWeb.com.
Our sun is dying. Mankind faces extinction.
Were you at all apprehensive about releasing this in the summer?
Ah, yes. I mean, I think they should have been released in Britain. I think it should have been released in the winter, because we don't. Sadly, we don't go to the movies in the summer. Everybody goes to the park instead, or to the pub. But in America, of course, you have a different tradition. I think everybody goes to the cinema in the summer, really, to escape the heat. So I suppose it could still work, if you like. But you do think, oh, surely it's a winter film when people could really appreciate the power of the sun when it's missing, really. But...
Welcome to Icarus 2.
Alex said that this movie he felt was about atheism and finding God, and you disagreed with that. What is your take on that idea?
Well, it's very interesting. I mean, I always used to say Alex is the writer is a very confident atheist, whereas I'm a kind of not quite so confident atheist, and that was always the difference between us, really. I think when you go into space, as a number of other films have shown, there's an element that you have to confront, which is a kind of an element that's beyond our rational, science, really. There's something beyond that out there as well that you get to confront. And whether that's a part of our minds or whether it's actually something that's just out there, it's still just as appropriate, really, to confront it, really. And I think at the end of the film, Cillian, as he puts his hand up to touch the sun, he does see something beyond the rational precision of science. There is something out there that's beyond words, really, beyond imagining, as the way we are at the moment. I think that's a wonderful thing in a film, really. It's not declaring to be on the side of atheism or not, but it's saying that there are things bigger than us, really, in a way. Which the sun certainly is, Anyway.
Oh, no doubt. At the end of the movie, what was your decision process as far as having the pinbacker blurred, like the visual style of that?
Well, it's very much, we always had this idea that he was, he'd been terribly disfigured, burnt, but his mind has been distorted as well. And that, in a way, what he said and how he looked was a challenge to the sanity of the people that saw him, in a way. I mean, is he real or not? Is it possible for somebody to exist like this? And we always imagined that he'd exposed himself to such energy, such force, that the protons and neutrons that make him up, all the bits that make us up, had somehow shifted and changed, really. I mean, it's a very weird idea, obviously. But you are at the surface of the sun, so it's not like a tea party, People having cups of tea or anything. It's like pretty radical stuff that you've got to come up with, really, out there. And that was always the idea of him. So it's not like a cinematic effect. It's meant to be something that that's how the character manifests himself to the other characters. That's how they see him. If they want to touch him, that's what they're touching, something that's shifting, that's not absolutely stable.
The airlock has decoupled, we don't know why. The locking system on Icarus 1 is totally ripped open. I can hold our current position, but we aren't going to be able to dock again. There's another thing, guys. You've got a hull breach. I can see it. You're losing atmosphere.
We're screwed.
Now, Alex had written backstories for this, for all the characters. Why do you think that's important to have those backstories?
It's very It's very useful for some of the actors. Not all the actors are interested in their backstory. It's quite interesting. They break down into two groups of actors. Some of them don't care about their backstory. They just want to play what's in the scene. But for some, it's crucial to know where they come from, what their upbringing was, what the backstory was like that. It makes them feel more solid, more placed. But some of them, like Rose, for instance, who plays Cassie, she had an amazing backstory. Not interested in it. I loved it. I thought, oh, use it. She wasn't interested in it at all. She didn't need it, and she was right, of course, because her performance is wonderful, and she didn't really need this backstory that we created for her. So, but I like having them there anyway. It helps me just to know that there's a kind of, it makes them feel like they come from somewhere rather than just be in this place, you know.
Do I have to spell it out for you? We have a payload to deliver to the heart of our nearest star. We're delivering that payload because that star is dying, and if it dies, we die. Everything dies. So that is our mission. There is nothing, literally, nothing more important than completing our mission. End of story.
He's right.
He's right. Of course I'm right. Is anyone here seriously considering otherwise?
Who was most adamant about using their backstory in the film?
I think Chris likes that sense of knowing where he belongs to something. He had and he went to talk to astronauts who'd been up into space, who'd been to the moon actually, and he got a lot from that feeling of solidity like that. And that's very much his character as well. He's somebody who's applied, you know, who's very technical, and actually says, doesn't matter what you feel, all the sympathy, all the crying, whatever you feel about all the fear, nothing matters other than the mission. You know, and he picked that up very much from his background, his creative background, that kind of military dedication, and from some of the astronauts that he spoke to.
So if you wake up one morning and it's a particularly beautiful day, you'll know we made it.